Hi, welcome to Hollywood. Well, not really, it's the Opera House actually. Sitting with me is Mark Hamill, the star of the new film Star Wars. Thanks for coming on the show, Mark. Tell us about the story of the film. What's it all about?
It's impossible to really tell the plot because the plot's not that important. It's the experience you feel when you watch it. It's when you analyze, like I read a synopsis that came from 20th Century Fox, and I, just as a testing out of people's opinions, I would give them the synopsis and have them read it. And they'd get halfway down and just say, well, it's complete nonsense. What do you mean there's like a 9-foot dog man who wears headphones and is able to make the correct mathematical computations to make the jump to hyperspace? What's that? And still he can only talk in grunts and growls?
So the whole storyline is really irrelevant. It's just all the action and everything that takes place.
It's just, it's sort of a combination comic book, fairy tale, Wizard of Oz. There's so many different elements in the movie.
Where did you first hear about it?
A friend of mine, an older friend of mine, had gone out for it. He said, have you been out for the new George Lucas film? I said, no, what is it? And he said, well, I don't know, I didn't see a script, but I think it's supposed to be something like Flash Gordon. So I went out, it was a 5-minute, they call them cattle calls in the United States. They just herd the actors in with electric cattle prods, and everyone gets 10 minutes. 10, 10, 10, 10, 20, 10, 30, 10, 40, and no script. So I just went in, I sat down, I said, hi, my name's Mark Hamill, and I'm one of 7 children, and I live in Japan. All the highlights of my action-packed life. And they wanted to see if we could say dialogue, like, it'll take a few moments for the Navicomputer to calculate the coordinates. And they crossed out all of Sir Alec Guinness's lines and given them to me because I was the one who was testing.
Right.
So I'm switching from really a wise character, very worldly and otherworldly, to golly kind of guy, which is real strange. I couldn't tell that that's what they'd done. The thing that's really winning about Star Wars is it's not like we're winking at the camera, like, isn't this cute, kind of camp stuff. It's very sincere. It's like we'd all gotten into a time machine and we're transported back to the 30s where it wasn't corny anymore. Because you see old movies and they were made seriously and now they're funny. And this one was funny, but made seriously.
Now, in the film, the special effects are absolutely amazing. Some of the clips that we're going to have a look at will tell the story, but were they done with models or what? Can you explain to us how that was all worked out?
All the spaceships were models. They were done in a place called Industrial Light and Magic, was formed just for Star Wars in the Valley, in Ventura, Southern California. And the live action special effects, in other words, things that had to work on the set, were done by John Steers, who's a British special effects man. Got an Academy Award for Thunderball.
Do you think it had anything to do with the robots? Because there's quite a few robots
in
the film.
Yeah, the robots were built from designs that were made in the United States, in England. It's a real co-production.
But are there men inside these robots, or are they all automatic, mechanically operated?
Well, there's the humanoid robot, who looks like sort of like an Academy Award. Always had an actor inside, Anthony Daniels. Pity the poor guy in the Sahara Desert. Right. I mean, he would be leaned up in his little. They built him this special thing because he couldn't sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, sure. And so he could just lean, and they had this little Tunisian guy that would follow him around everywhere with an umbrella, at no clue as to what we were doing. Robots being carried up mountains on the backs of donkeys, and they would, occasionally they'd say, "Okay, Tony, we're ready for you now." Tony. Okay, gentlemen, get his head off quickly. The bolts. He'd be just out.
So you had a medical team on standby as well.
Horrible. I mean, it was so bad in Africa as it was. I don't even like to think of what he went through. He'd lose. It's a great way to lose weight. Just get into a robot suit and go to Africa.
Anyway. Now, in the beginning, when they first wrote Star Wars, I believe they actually wrote 3 films. They were all along a series line, so one would follow after the other on the same subject. Now, apparently there's been a few people saying, oh yeah, this film's taken a lot of money and therefore they're going to write Star Wars Part 2 and Star Wars Part 3. But apparently that's not right. In effect, they actually wrote them all in the beginning and signed you up for all 3 in the beginning. Is that right?
That the sequel that's being written now has nothing to do with following up this story. It's just a whole different story. And it won't be called Star Wars 2. It'll be like, From Alderaan with Love and The Alien Who Loved Me. But that's the way it is. I'm under contract and overexposed.
regardless of the size of the film and the success and everything, it certainly hasn't changed. You're a terrific person to talk to, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.